Okay, class, today we are going to do some more name that graphs, but this time we are going to have a phase shift, a horizontal shift. So I'm going to highlight one complete period of a sine function. Okay, so I'm going to do a positive sine function, so I need to see a positive sine function, so the general shape looking like this. So I need to scan my graph. If I start here, I can see a positive cosine function, but I'm looking for a positive sine function. If I start here at the origin, it's a negative sine function. So I'm looking for where I can find one complete period. And sine starts on the midline, and then it's going to go up. So I see it starts here, it goes up, down to its min, and back to its midline. That's one complete period of a sine function. In this image that we have here, we can see that we have several different trig functions found. So if I start here and end here, that's a sine function. But for example, if we were asked to find one cosine function, we would highlight this section because that's one U-shape. That's one period of a cosine. If we were asked to find a negative sine function, I could write the equation here where it goes from there to there. That would be one period of a negative sine function. And if we were asked to find one period of a negative sine function, a negative cosine function, it is right here. And also there's another one over here. This would be one period of a negative cosine function. And they have different phase shifts. All of these, all four of the trig functions can be found here. They just have different starting points, so they have different phase shifts. So we're going to use all the rules in order to find this equation. So we're going to have the period is 2 pi over b. We know that the x-axis scale is period over 4, and then the phase shift, the start, is going to be c over b. Okay, so I have some values marked on my axis. So I know that this value here is 5 pi. So if I count, my x scale is in terms of pi. So it ends at 4 pi, and it starts over here at, looks like, negative 4 pi. Okay, so if it starts at negative 4 pi, that's its phase shift, it's its start. Okay, so the phase shift is 4 pi, and that's going to be c over b. So I need to find my c and my b. I have an equation with period that tells me how to find the b value. So the period, remember, is the distance along the x-axis it takes to make one complete wave. So if it started at minus 4 pi and it ended at 4 pi, that's one period. And that length is 4 pi plus 4 pi, or 8 pi. So my period is 8 pi. And I know period is 2 pi over b. So again, from start to end is one period, and that in this example is 8 pi. So I can just solve by cross multiplying, and I get that b is 2 pi over 8 pi, or b is 1/4. So if my b is 1/4, I can plug it in up here, and then I can solve for c. So I have minus 4 pi is c over 1/4. So c over 1/4, I can multiply both sides of my equation by 1/4 so that they cancel on that side, and I have 1/4 here. So I get c is minus pi. Okay, so I found my c, I found a b, I have to find an a and a b. So to find my a value, my a is the distance it goes above and below the midline. Here's my midline, because I can see half of it going up to here, which is to 8, and then the other half going down here, which is to 2. So my a value is 3, because the distance from the midline to the max and the midline to the min is 3. And since I want to do a positive sine function, I'm going to make that a positive 3. So I found my A is 3. And finally, I need to find D. And D is the value of the vertical shift. Notice your x-axis is down here. The midline is where it's revolving around. And it's revolving around 5. So my D is 5. Okay, so I found my values for A, B, C, and D. The last thing I need to do is write the equation. So it's y equals the amplitude, or the A value, 3, sine of bx, so 1/4 x, minus your c value, so it's minus a negative pi over 2, so it's plus pi, not pi over 2, pi, and then plus your d, which is 5, and this would be the equation. So remember, the general sine function is a sine bx minus c plus d. So it's a minus your c value. So it's minus a negative pi, so it's a plus pi. Okay, so in your classwork that we're going to be doing, we're going to be looking at one picture, and we are actually going to be writing one sine function and one cosine function for the same thing. So we're going to highlight a sine function and do all the work, and then we're going to highlight on a different picture a cosine function and do all the work to find the cosine function. And you'll see that some of the values are going to stay the same. So we're going to notice patterns with that. But for this particular example, we're just going to find one sine example. Okay, that is all. Have a great night.